There is no animal more important for an animal artist and creature designer to draw well and understand than horses. They strike a chord in the hearts of both men and women the world over, and no other creature has so transformed human history as the horse. It is the animal depicted most in the history of art, illustration, and animation, and one can measure the quality and believability of an animated feature by the quality and believability of its horses. A feature may have a terrific dragon, but if the horse that carries the hero, whether highly detailed or however stylized, is anatomically substandard and doesn't work together well, our ability to suspend disbelief in the feature goes out the window. Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Anna. I am a 36-year-old artist from Utah. So, this week I'm doing some horse sketches in my sketchbook for practice. I have been drawing horses all my life. They were the first thing I was ever obsessed with as a kid. Yes, I'm a horse girl. I was drawing super square horses when I was like 5. With crayons, and yeah, I still have a very intense love for horses. I've owned horses, but don't right now, but I still love drawing them. Horses are on the list of things that, despite drawing them my whole life and having a pretty good overall understanding of their anatomy and everything, they are a thing that I will practice for the rest of my life. And I think that for any subject, even, something that you draw very commonly, like it's something you do often, you are always going to need to do studies and practice to keep up your skills, to keep that muscle memory in place. And horses are something that I realize the more that I do horse art and the older I get, and the more that I do art, I can see better, if that makes sense. You learn to see as an artist, and I can see all the ways where I'm not quite there yet, despite all that I do know. It's the concept of the more that you know, the more you know that you don't know. And I'm having that experience with equine art and anatomy. So, I had an idea for an illustration of one of my characters riding a horse, and I tried to do a sketch of it, and it didn't go very well. Trying to do both the horse and putting a rider on a horse, it was bad. So I decided I needed to get some practice in to get my my brain and my hand to work together again. And so I started this page really late at night, which is why the first 2 drawings I didn't film. I was just sitting in my bed sketching, which I recommend. Sorry, my cat is really sad right now. Next morning, I decided to continue the horse studies in my sketchbook. I used a bunch of references on Pinterest. I have a board of horses, so there'll be a link in the description that will link to that. You can go check it out if you want to do some horse sketches, which I totally recommend. In the very near future, I'm going to do more, but I'm going to do riders on horseback to do some more practice so that I can actually do this drawing of this illustration I have in my head that I want to do. So yeah, stay tuned for that, I guess. I also just kind of want to talk about for a minute about what I had at the beginning of this video. I have this really cool book, The Science of Creature Design. Totally recommend it. It's very cool. But I really love that paragraph that I read because I completely agree with it. And not just for creature design artists, for every artist, any artist who's going to put a horse in their art. I have seen professional art, paintings, illustrations, video game concept art, where everything in the piece is absolutely gorgeous. The rendering is spot on. The anatomy of every other animal and the people is fantastic. Values are really great. Everything is great, you know? And the horse or horses look so janky or weird and just off, and it really detracts from everything else. It really pulls you out of that suspension of disbelief, and it kind of, for me at least, it ruins the art. I cannot enjoy a painting or a game or a movie or anything where the horses look so weird and even if everything else is awesome. And it's very odd to me that there are professional concept artists or any kind of artists out there who are taking the time to learn all of their fundamentals and everything that they're putting into a painting, except that their horses look like trash. So I guess I just want to say, if you're going to put equines in a painting or a piece of art or an illustration or animation or whatever it is, please take the time to at least find, if you're not going to just sit and study horses, if you're not going to learn horse anatomy, do yourself a favor and at least find really solid references and follow them if you're going to put a horse in your piece, because it will look so much better, and I and many other people will respect you more and take your work more seriously. When I see a janky horse in art, I can't take that art seriously. And I think it's the kind of thing where if you do take the time to learn the skill, or at least take the time to use a reference very solidly, you're going to be leagues ahead of a lot of professionals who don't take that time. So, yeah, anyway, just have really strong feelings about it. I find it pretty frustrating. And I know that horses are extremely hard to draw and to learn to draw, but I also would argue that it is worth it. And yeah, if you're gonna do it right. And I kind of feel that way about everything. I try to do that myself. So anyways, and rant on that, I guess, but I would like to possibly at some point come out with some resources for drawing horses. I don't know when that will be. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but it's on my ideas list. So yeah. Anyway, a little bit just about what I'm doing in my sketchbook. I don't have a single approach for any of these drawings. I went into it just with the express intention of paying attention to my references really closely so that I could learn more, because I think I have fallen into a trap occasionally where it's like, oh, I know how to do this. I know how to draw a horse. So I don't need to pay super close attention to references or anything like that. Whereas the truth is that I actually really do, because like with anything in art and many other pursuits in life, there's always more to learn. There's always more to know. And so yeah, I'm trying to be aware of my own blind spots so that I can improve in the areas that I would like to improve in. And as I was doing this, there was a lot of little things that I realized, like, oh yeah, this muscle here is like this, and you know, stuff like that, and just yeah, there's always more to know. It's just and like I know the areas where I struggle, which is why I did both a front and back set of legs with the hooves, because I have found in the last year, maybe year and a half, that it's particularly difficult for me to draw legs on horses and feel like they look believable, to me at least. And I have this weird thing where for some reason the hind legs, the area where the gaskin is, look that up. It's above what you would consider the knee. without knowing anything about horses. It's not the knee, but that's what it looks like to you. If you don't know anything, it's that area under the back end, and for some reason it always looks weird to me, even when I'm drawing directly from reference. I don't know what my brain is trying to do there, but I'm trying to reteach my brain how to see that properly and how to execute it properly in a drawing. Yeah. So just paying really, really close attention to all the little details and how each part relates to the other parts. And I have like I said, I have no single approach here. Like this one, and the first two that I didn't film, I was really just trying to carve out each area. See, I don't really go in with guidelines on these hind legs at all. I'm just drawing them freehand from the reference. I did with the front and tried to pay attention to like the distance between that front hoof that's lifted and the other leg, just trying to get all of that right. And yeah, in case you didn't know, the tail there, that would be what a horse tail looks like without any hair on it. And I tried for the most part to either do the hair very lightly on the mane and tail in these drawings, or to leave it out altogether, just because I'm trying to pay more attention to the overall structure rather than aesthetics for these particular drawings. I also lately tend to draw heavier horses, like draft horses, more often lately. And I also am really prone to drawing Arabians. I've owned 2 Arabians. My heart horse was an Arabian, so I draw Arabians a lot. But I did try to pick some different breeds for this particular sketchbook spread. I believe this one is a saddlebred right here. I didn't do the back long enough, and the legs are too long. But yeah, and I noticed with this one, like the rotation of the barrel, I found interesting, that you could see, almost see the top of the back behind the withers, etc. It's crazy because horses are such dynamic animals, and to be able to draw them in more than one just static position does take a lot of paying attention and sort of memorization. So, but again, seriously worth it. If you can draw a horse, you can learn to draw any animal, which is pretty cool. But yeah, this area right here that I just drew, that right there, this is the spot where I just, for some reason, my brain's like, no, that never looks right. It's always wrong. So yeah. And for some reason, I also lately am just struggling so much with getting the pasterns right and the hooves. The pastern is the area right above the hooves. Yeah, just so you know now. Yeah, so what I'm drawing right now, that is the pastern. But yeah, if you draw the hooves, so many artists, people drawing horses, the hooves always look very, very strange. And yeah, I tend to just feel like if you can get even certain small things right, like the angle of the hooves, and making sure that your legs aren't bending the wrong way. I see that a lot, or that certain parts of the limbs end up being too long or too short. Like I often see that the upper half of the back legs is often drawn extremely long. But yeah, if you can just pay attention to getting the length of the areas of the limbs right, and get the hooves looking somewhat correct, you're even just doing that, you're going to be leagues ahead of most people. Yeah, this one I spent more time just like putting in guidelines. This one, for some reason, just this 3/4 view from the back, I needed a little bit more time and to pay a little bit more attention to get everything where it was supposed to be. I'm not sure, but this one also looks like a saddlebred type. It may or may not be. I would have to look again, but yeah, just definitely I want to get better at being able to draw more than just two types of horses well from my memory, which, like I said, seems right now to be draft horses and Arabians. As I was sitting down to draw the other night in my bed, and I had the book with me that you saw at the beginning, and I hadn't read any of it yet, and I decided then that I was going to read the chapter on horses, and I loved it, first of all, but I learned, and I didn't know this, that horses have the biggest eyes of any mammal, which I thought was pretty cool. So I guess today is random facts and ranting about horses from me. So welcome. But yeah, if you want resources, like a tutorial, PDF, maybe videos, we will see how things go, on how to draw horses, let me know. Some of it would be free, and depending on how in-depth I go, I'm sure a lot of it I would probably charge a bit for, because like everybody else, I gotta make some dollars. But yeah, if that is something that you would be interested in, let me know. We are getting close to the end now. If you watched all the way through this not super exciting video today, thank you so much for being here. I hugely appreciate it. Leave a horse emoji in the comments, and yeah, I am gonna scoot now. Thanks again for being here. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.